What's up, guys? This video is about her having multiple baby daddies. Now, I know this has been going on for a while, actually for a long time, right? But for some reason, I'm seeing these younger girls have this having multiple kids by different guys. It's wild. That's all I gotta say. I mean, like I said, I know it's been going on for a long time, but now it's concerning, right? It gets to the point where it's like, yeah, you see something messed up every day, but it gets to the point where it start getting too messed up. Like, wait a minute, man. I was getting my Arizona for 107, with tax and everything. Now it's 250. Now it's a problem. You can go up extra. Some place they got me for the 150 or whatever, 135. I was cool with that, right? But when it got to 250, nah. We gotta shut this down. We gotta boycott all these stores that sell in Arizona. But anyway, I know of 2 feet. Well, let me see. I know 2 out right top of my head, right? Most of them are all baby mamas, but I know 2 off the top of my head. They have 2 kids, 2 baby daddies, and one of them, she's the older one, the one I was staying with. She already had a daughter. She was a young teenager. Now she's I think she's in her early 20s or something like that. So she's officially an adult now. So she's telling me all this stuff that she got planned going on once a kid, get out of high school and stuff like that. Of course, this is the same one I keep telling you about, that she's always talking about her, losing weight, but she never work out. She just gets bigger. But she was telling me about all the plans she had once her daughter graduated high school, right? So as soon as she graduated high school, tell me why she came up missing. Now, granted, I wasn't going over there like that. We were just checking up on each other on Facebook, here and now and then, that type of situation. But that was it. It wasn't like I was just hanging out with her every night. It was one of them things we would just keep in touch on Facebook. So out of nowhere, she came up missing. She wasn't replying to the messages, the phone calls, nothing like that. I'm like, well, obviously she got her a new boyfriend. No big deal. Time went on. Later on, I got the next year, right? I got a phone call, no, a text message from her online or whatever. And she's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? You just appeared out of nowhere. So she told me, oh yeah, she had another baby. And I'm all like, why would you have another baby? Keep in mind, she didn't mention anything about her being in a relationship or being married. So this is the thing too, guys. If she's a certified baby mama, because they always upload their photos, right? When they upload photos, it is just them and the kid. Dead giveaway. Matter of fact, the one I was telling you about who has the health problems, she just took a random picture of her baby laying on the floor. I'm like, damn, you ain't gonna take a picture with her? You know what I mean? With the kid, she just took a picture of the kid just laying on the floor. I'm like, damn. So anyway, hey, at the end of the day, they say kids, right? I'm not a professional photographer by any means, but I know a little bit about it. I'm pretty sure that's a little tacky, right? It's just throwing your kid on the floor and just taking a picture of it, and that's it. Like okay, of your newborn. I'm like, all right, whatever. But anyway, move forward. She never mentioned none of that. I'm like, oh shit. And I want to know. Again, I'm not poking fun at nobody. I'm gonna say this too, just to be clear. Not everybody wants to get married. Not everybody wants to be in a relationship. That's just what it is. Regardless of how I feel about it, I understand. I totally agree. That's true. Not everybody wants to get married, will get married, wants a relationship, or will be in a relationship. That's just reality, man. So I'm asking for advice. I'm asking for the actual women that's in this position. Why do y'all have multiple baby daddies? Why do y'all do that? Like, especially when the first one is already not necessarily out the nest, but they fully grown, right? They got a driver's license. They can take on life. Why do y'all decide to have a kid, especially at that time when the kid is already grown? Why do y'all do that? On top of that, why do y'all have multiple baby dads? What's the purpose of that? I don't want to put in my thoughts. I want to get the answer from actual people that's in it, that's in the mix. Another chick I know, sweet little girl, you know what I mean? Sweet, she older now, but sweet little lady. Let me be correct. She ended up being a baby mom right away, like twice. And at the end of the day, not saying their personality is going to dictate if they're a hoe or not, because she's a full blown hoe. Like she grew up in a broken home. Her mama been hoeing. She came from Colombia and she's still been hoeing, and This is what she's got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters from her mama. Her mama just, no dad in sight. She don't even know how her dad look. None of them. You know what I mean? They look all different colors. You know, it's a whole bunch of them. You know what I mean? From their mama. She just been doing that. That's what she is. I mean, you know, she probably a nice lady or whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, regardless of her personality, it don't take away that she, you know, her mom's a hoe. You know, she raised a broken. You know, she had all these kids in a broken home. So she following her mom's footsteps. Sad to say, but that's reality. So she had a kid. I don't know what happened. Like we was always off and on. But she ended up getting with a guy. And you know, I'm not gonna get too much of detail of the young dude or whatever. But anyway, she ended up getting in a relationship with a guy. She, you know, they got pregnant. And then all of a sudden it didn't work out. You know, he didn't do his part. You know, again, it has to make sense, right? If you're gonna have a family, it's important for both of you to have a job. It's important for both of you to have really two vehicles. This is the thing, not to be cruel, but at the end of the day, it's not really hard to get a vehicle, right? You can get a listen, man. You just need some wheels until you can, you know, you just gotta get it going. You gotta crawl before you walk, right? You just need some wheels just to get you, you know, to a better position. So the fact that both of them are adults and only one of them had the car, you know, the girl, you know, her, the guy didn't have a job, the guy didn't have a vehicle, so they're already starting out bad. On top of that, they had a kid. So she's the breadwinner. The guy's not trying to do anything right. He's out here just, he's a bum. He's still a bum to this day. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a bum till he die. Cause that's all he's been doing, even though the dude young, but you know, she just don't know how to pick him. Now, y'all probably looking at me. I understand. I have my, you know, my quirks to me. I have my rough edges to me. But at the end of the day, I do got some goddamn common sense. You know what I mean? I do have some common sense, bro. I'm not gonna have a fucking kid and I'm down bad. I have nothing to offer. I don't even have a fucking job. What look like me going out here just having kids when I'm in that position? So at the end of the day, you know, he's a bum. You know, he's staying with us. He's paying all the bills. So you already know what it is. I was in that same position. But at the end of the day, I'm not a dumbass. I'm like, nah, the worst thing I can do is have a kid on top of that. So I'm just playing my position. You know, I messed it up. I already told you guys before one of my old videos. I messed it up, and then, you know, the rest is history. So the fact that she brought in a homeless guy, had a kid by him, and he kept, you know, he's trash, so he didn't change. I don't know what women really believe. If you have a kid by these dudes, they're gonna change their life, right? They're gonna do a complete 180. Nah, they either gonna do it, regardless they have a kid or not. The kid is not gonna determine that. I see that all the time when y'all guys doing these videos and stuff like that, and they, you know, they question y'all about the kids. The kid is not gonna change the guy's perspective of life. It's not gonna happen. Now, I understand you do have some guys. I read, you know, when I had hair back in the day at the barbershop, had them barbershop talks, you had some guys that did have kids, they did change their life around, but that's very far in between. You just had to be a very destructive person to not do that. So obviously the guys that was doing that, they was on the edge of life, you know what I mean? But they wasn't the best citizens. But once they had a kid, they did change it around, right? But that's very far in between. If you're a destructive individual all the way around, they're not gonna change. So I know you got some women out there that love destructive guys that almost, he's a fixer-upper. No. That's why you always mess up. That's not gonna happen. You just make your situation even worse. So of course, you know, she got rid of him because he wasn't doing right. He was always cheating. Every time they moving in different apartments here and there, and he's still cheating on every female he get his hands on. While she at work, and she finding out about the other neighbors. So everybody in the apartment complex know their business. So she eventually got rid of him. So he went on ahead and left her ass high and dry. Even though she got rid of him, he left her. He didn't provide any child support, nothing like that. I asked her every now and then, hey, what's going on with the goddamn child support? You go, what's up? She says she don't know all this information, something like that. But I'm like, okay, that's typically what you do. You let them sleep with you right away. You don't even know the person. That's how she always been, bro. I'm telling you guys, you know females like that who just a loose cannon, right? You know what I mean? They go off their nicknames or their street names or whatever like that. They don't even know their favorite color, but they'll let them bust up in them and all this stuff. Y'all know this, man. So anyway, that's one of them. She was hooking. You know, that's the thing. They don't stop sleeping around, right? That's the thing about it. I know a lot of you guys, you probably think that they don't stop sleeping around. You know, the average female that get on here and say, oh, you know, I never had a relationship, she a hoe. Oh, I just never can find a guy who's committed to me, she's a hoe. Like, if she's not in a relationship, she's still sleeping around. Even if she is in a relationship, she's still sleeping around. Only difference is she gonna sleep around even more because she's like, well, I'm not looking for nothing serious, so she gonna give the box away even easier. because she gonna use that as an excuse to hold around like, oh, until I get serious and whatever, move forward. So she still was hooking up with. Remember, they don't never stop sleeping around, bro. That's why a lot of guys that be dealing with them kind of females, they'll get them pregnant to slow them down. Not to stop them, but to slow them down, give them some responsibilities because they know they got to be home at a certain time. They know they got to pick their kids up at a certain time. That's going to slow them down from being a big hoe. They still going to do it, but it's going to be an inconvenience for them to do so because they always rip and run. They go to work. They got to pick the kids. Obviously, hopefully she got a job, but she got a job and the kids that she gonna stay busy like that. That's why I see a lot of guys do that. This to slow them down. So she's still holding around, right? She was messing around with this truck driver, and guess what? He got her pregnant. And as soon as she told him, because they was texting whatever, as soon as she told him she was pregnant, you already know what happened. The phone went dead. Like, he did no response. He abandoned ship. And she said that she followed him, they followed each other on Facebook. And she said, Facebook let you know if a person looking at your photos and all that other stuff like that. So he's watching she don't post nothing. She posts a picture every now and then, but she barely do that because she always working and taking care of the kids. But she says that she knows that he's watching her page. But on top of that, he don't reach out to her, nothing like that. Of course, ain't no child support with him either. And he's out there just doing his own thing. And I asked her, I'm like, why you got pregnant by the first guy? Why the fuck did you get pregnant by the second dude and you already knew it was going to happen? Of course, she didn't have an answer. And I'm like, why did you put yourself in this situation? And I told her just like that, even though, she a hoe, I said, even though I know you're a hoe, we've been going back and forth for the longest time, I wouldn't have left your stupid ass high and dry. We would have made it work. As sad as they may crazy, may sound, but at the end of the day, a lot of these hoes, if they can get them a dude, believe me or not, because it's certain levels to it, right? But I guess if you guys never dealt with them like that, you wouldn't understand. You probably think all of them the same. But if they can get them an actual dude, they'll be committed to him. Now, if you think I'm lying, hey, comments is down below. Go ahead and tell me your stories or whatever like that. But the fact that, because I know, I've been dealing with her for so long, the fact that she was with that dude for a couple years, she tried to make it work because she knew at the end of the day, it wasn't. It's no reward. It's no payout at the end of your horn phase. Because at the end of the day of your horn phase, when it's all said and done, you're gonna be alone. You're gonna be alone. That's all it's gonna be. You're gonna be alone, and you're gonna still be home. But guys will come through. The quality of the guys you're gonna get is gonna be even worse. That's a fact. So she's not a dummy. She's a silly hoe, but she's not a dummy. So she already knew at the end of the day, that road that she was on was gonna lead her nowhere. So if she can get her an actual guy, she's okay, well, yeah, I'll make this work. So, she was with the bum, trying to make it work, and, he ain't want to, he's a bum, so he didn't want to make any changes, so she got rid of him. So I asked her, why would you do that? I said, if I would have got your stupid ass pregnant, I would have made it work. You know what I mean? I would have been messed up about it, but I would have made it work. So now she having regret and stuff like that, but you can't do nothing about it, right? The kids are already here. They like 4, 5 years old already. You just got to deal with it. So she, to be honest with you, she's doing better now than what she was doing when she was by herself. Because at the end of the day, when you have responsibilities, you're either gonna make it work or you're not gonna make it work. So in that case, she is a tough cookie. You know what I mean? She's been through a lot of stuff, so she ain't scared to, lace her boots up, as they say. Shit. But what they be saying, pull yourself from your bootstraps or whatever, but them racist white people be saying. She gonna do that. She gonna handle business. So she's doing great. You know what I mean? She's doing great for herself, way better than what she was doing before she had kids. Now, granted, she don't have time for herself, but that's what you gotta sacrifice. So it's a give and take, right? So anyway, I don't really know why they do that. Now maybe they want to stay on government assistance or whatever. I don't know. I don't even think she on it or whatever. She all messed up, so she just doing the best she can. But the other one, the older one, I'm assuming she just want to keep using the benefits. I don't know. But if anybody has any experience with that or any knowledge, let me know, because I walk around like, why y'all just, and they doing it at a wild rate. They don't even know the dudes, bro, when they doing this. They don't even know nothing about it. They just having kids by them. Now, granted, the first one, the older one, the one I was staying with, she know both of them. You know what I mean? She know both of them when they work. The whole nine is just, they don't, it's just, she didn't care for them to be with her. She was like, I guess she just think different. She like, hey, whatever, if they want to be with me, cool, they don't, whatever. So she just living that kind of life. So at the end of the day, it's like I'm trying to figure out, why are they having all these? First of all, if a female, she got one kid, she okay she's not gonna be the first pick, but we all know she look a certain way. She has lots to offer. Like I say, she can cook and she's fun to be around. It's gonna help her out. But we all know once she has more than one, that's it. Like even if she had one, she in the danger zone. But if she have more than one, that's pretty much it, bro. Like all the guys, regardless of how you guys feel, the average guy society is gonna treat her less than. She gonna be the bottom of the barrel. They will literally go get them a fat chick over her because they don't have to deal with somebody else's responsibility. That's just reality, bro. You can't go to other coaches and expect them to take care. No, they're not gonna do that. They're not in America. I know y'all make fun of black dudes and stuff like that. White dudes do it too. Mexicans do it too. You know what I mean? This is what it is. So but not everybody gonna do it, especially nowadays because time is rough. It's rough, and everybody's seeing these videos of them making fun of these stepdads and stuff like that. So it's a no-go. You literally in the danger zone if you're a baby mama. They know that. That's why they try to belittle you and shame you for not getting with them. I don't know why, because it's not their kid. Do that with the daddy. Go shame and go manipulate the daddy. Don't go do that with Charles that work at CVS. You know what I mean? The damn assistant manager because he don't want to date you. It is what it is. So I'm trying to figure out. I just want to know. Now, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's not going to change my life. I just want to know because when I have a question and no one's giving me answers, I'm going to keep digging until I find it. That's all I want to know. Why are these females having multiple baby daddies, bro? Now, of course, back in the day, it wasn't so common, but now it's like every female you come across got multiple baby daddies. I'm like, God, what the hell? So anyway, if y'all guys got any answers, maybe suggestions, clues or something, help me or help everybody else. Like, I just want to figure it out, man. I'm just like, what is this? This is self-destruction at its finest. So anyway, if you guys got any answers, questions, whatever, leave them down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. No matter what else, take your peace, your pockets, and your purpose.